speak to me because it's the morning there now, right?
It is, yeah. It's 20 to 11
See, I'm
a.m.
I'm better at this time over here in the
Okay.
afternoon, moving towards the evening. I mean, my spirits get lifted. I'm like, I know I'm going to talk to you. You hear me out. You'll
Sure,
let me vent and put it
sure.
all out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I appreciate it. But I'm curious,
You too.
about where it's so natural for you to just look out for the ones that are your team, your friends, your family. And, if we were to go back, you don't have to be too specific, but if you went back to check on, let's say you 15, 20 years ago, what would, who would you see? What would you witness?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. So 15, 20 years ago, I'm just thinking, how old am I? Yeah, so I'm 46 this year. And in 2010, so 16 years ago, I was, I was, I self-admitted into a rehabilitation centre for 9 weeks. Um, and I guess the best way to describe, and if I was checking in on that guy right now, I would see a very lost, sad, confused, massive ego, low self-esteem, anxious guy. I laugh about that because I'm uncomfortable saying it, I guess. But yeah, I was 15, 20 years ago, like 20 years ago, I I thought I had it all. I was in a lot of denial and I was really just white knuckling it. And I was I was drinking heavily and everything else. And I was really, I know now I was very sick and 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 really 15 years ago I was starting to seek out help, but I had very little hope of working it out or figuring it out. um, I didn't understand that there was a lot of support out there. I didn't Yeah, I was very naive to what uh, was ahead of me, you know.
Mhm. So what would you tell that younger version of you 16, 20 years ago if you encountered that young man that you just described? How would you check in on him?
Mm. Knowing what I know now, I would probably be quite brutally honest with him.
Okay.
Um, I feel I feel honest mates are the best mates.
Mm,
That's one of my things, but there's a fine line between, you know, I would have to say it to him what I know now. I'd have to tell him lovingly that, man, you're in trouble, and I'm checking in on you because I'm really worried about you,
mhm.
and I want you to get help. That would be what I would say. I guess one thing I would say, knowing what I know now, is you can have a life beyond your wildest dreams if you lean into the support that's available, you do what's suggested, remain teachable, live an honest life, and try to be kind to yourself and those around you, and things will be okay, you know?
Yeah.
I, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, do you think when you encounter people like this, and I relate a lot because I mean, I feel like it wasn't two years ago, 9 years ago, sometimes it was just yesterday. I am that younger version that is obstinate and anxious and can be worried. And you check in, other guys check in. You all notice it in me probably before I notice it in myself. And I feel like
Of
we do
course.
that with each other. That's what it's all about. But
Mm,
we also understand people might have to go through what they feel like they need. to go through before they are willing to change?
Sure. Yeah. There's there's no point in me. Look, this is just my opinion, but I was only going to listen when I wanted to listen. I was only going to ask for help when I really was willing to change or willing to have that support. And so I have to be really loving and kind without enabling them, but just know that I'm here. I'm a soft place to land if you need something. But there's no point in me saying, mate, you're doing the wrong thing. You're doing this, you're doing that. That's for me anyway.
Yeah, totally. I think that's
mm,
the overall message about check on your teammates, is that it is okay to not be okay. And it's
of course.
okay that I'm not perfect and you're not perfect right now. I just want you
Mm,
to know at this very moment, I care about you. And you
mm,
mentioned that you didn't have a lot of hope. I think it doesn't take a lot of hope, but just maintaining a little bit. It's that little light at the end of a dark place. And so sometimes it is that phone call, that text message, maybe a letter, or just knocking on someone's door, driving by their job, like, hey, I just thought about you, wanted to see how you were doing. I thought you might be here, type thing. I'm curious, maybe when was the most recent or the most impactful time you had a surprise visit, someone, a teammate checked on you?
mm. Um, I don't know about a surprise one because I'm in a real groove with a bunch of guys. Like a lot of guys, we call each other, every month, every couple of weeks. But like the last time I was checked in on was this morning at 7 o'clock this morning. And then uh, I just checked in on another mate 20 minutes ago, and he didn't answer, but I left a message on his voicemail just saying, just checking in, man. Hope you're good. See you soon. And it's funny, like I didn't do that because I knew I was going to have a chat with you about check on your teammates, and then I had a good reference point. That's my life now. Is I know that I need to check in on guys, and because I know how important it is to me, and a lot of people don't have that. So yeah, I was checked in on yesterday. Yeah, it's most days. Weekends is a bit less because um, because we all have families, and it's a lot of us have families in my crew, and weekends are less. You have quite often called me on the weekends, and I'll take that call. It's like, awesome, I'm getting a call on the weekend, Um, so, so yeah, it doesn't surprise me anymore, and I say that with complete humility. That's just what we do. But it took me a long time. It took me a couple of years of retraining that and getting to do it, like getting into a rhythm of doing that. I had older mentors that said to me, "You need to pick up the phone. You've got to pick up the phone and call me, and I'm going to call you. And when I call you, answer or call back." And because there were times that I just wouldn't call back um, and also I used to feel like I was burdening people with my stuff, and I had people say, on the contrary, it helps me too, you know.
Mm.
So yeah,
I heard that quote this morning. A phone call saves two lives.
sure, yeah, and I like problem shared is a problem halved. Like
Yeah.
I you know sometimes I don't still like today I will not write today, but there's times when I don't think I want to talk about something. You might call me, and then your honesty will evoke honesty from me, and then I'll end up talking about my stuff, and then I'll feel so much better for having talked about it. But up until that moment, I may have just let it marinate, and it turns into a resentment, a fear, or I catastrophize about whatever it is. And all I needed to do was just have a little chat, and just talk about what's going on. Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a trip how just vocalizing and verbalizing what's going on in our heads, like me hearing myself say something or tell a story or share my perspective, it actually offers a lot of clarity, especially when I'm trying to explain it to someone else, and then
Mm.
something can register, maybe even before you respond. And thank you for answering my calls on the weekend. I'm going to claim because the weekend hadn't started here first. So I
Yeah.
probably thought it was still Thursday or Friday. No, no, I really appreciate it though, man, because you've helped me navigate some really tough times where I feel like throwing in the towel because I don't have a family, because I haven't been in a relationship in a long time, and I don't mind sharing that because I know, and what's happening now for me is that more guys because of this movement are vocalizing that. And I don't
Mm.
know if it's a karmic shift or the energy, but people that were strangers that I'm just now encountering, this wall is coming down, and I think people recognize that this is necessary. And for me,
Mm.
check on your teammates is that buffer between being uncomfortable and having some stuff or having a good time, like being able to celebrate the wins and there being a crisis or
Mm.
there being extreme loneliness and isolation because, yeah, I got a promotion at work, but everyone else is kind of busy. I want to celebrate. And so I say all that because it seems like there's a correlation between your, I want to say, success and what you put in. You check in on people. Like it's almost like working out, you get the energy back that you put in. Do you think there's a correlation there between the effort you make and the balance, I want to say the happiness in your life?
For sure, man. I think it's really, I, I think it's really important. I've got a couple of older guys in my life that I would refer to as mentors, but they're like family to me, and they've really helped me in the last 10 years of my sobriety journey. But they've shown me that being available to be of service to others has helped them function with grace and integrity and in like all areas of their life, and so for me personally, like, career wise, things are fantastic and all that sort of stuff. It's great. But if I don't, I feel like it'll stunt me if it's all just, yeah, the Ben and Zara thing, social media, me. If it's just that, it's obviously I'm there for my daughter, and it's an amazing thing that we do together. But it's uh, it's really, I'm finding it hard to explain it. I feel like, and I don't want to get too woo woo, but I feel like the more I give out to the universe and I'm available to my fellow man or woman, in a loving way, the more everything else is easier. I'm freer. There is time management around that. I can't stay on the phone all day. I can't, pick up the phone all the time. There's times when I'm with the kids and I've got to be a present father. And there are times when I've had friends that are calling because they might be going through something. And I've answered and said, look, I can't talk right now, but I'll give you a call later. And then there's just work, being a professional. You got to put food on the table. So I can't always be taking calls, but I make sure, and I, because I've been taught through others, I make sure that I make time for that every day, because it helps. And it sounds a bit self-serving, but it helps me. It gets me off myself. A good friend of mine said to me years ago, he said, when you're struggling, when you really feel you're struggling, why don't you ring someone else who you know is struggling and see how they are, you know?
Mm.
And that is something I do today. And sometimes it's not easy because sometimes my problems feel like the biggest problems in the world, right? But uh, most of the time when I do that, I get off myself and I'm able to connect with a fellow, and there's a, I don't know, it's a loving act, and it's connection,
It's
yeah,
community and
community.
support.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
and
you always, I bear witness to this. You always put your family first. Like, and we
thanks, mate.
we will be in conversation. I hear those little voices come up, and you all get into some funny, some funny. You're like, hey, I gotta go, and I totally understand because I'm like, with what I'm hearing going on, and it's beautiful. You always keep that first priority with whatever you do, and I think what you like you mentioned, there's it could seem selfish, but check on your teammate. Does it circle back like teammate numero uno is this guy, and how do I check on that? I can't do surgery on myself. Will you help me out? Can I talk to you?
Mm,
Or how are you doing? And it's so counterintuitive because wait, everything in me is focusing on my world, my problems, and even my joys. And I think
mm,
for me that's been the paradox is even when things get really good, double down on being of service, double down on reaching out, making it less about me. Because the more I focus on that, then it becomes this like magnified thing and everything's got to be perfect and look at who I am and all this. And I forget
mm.
about the team. I can definitely forget about the team. Is there a slogan? Is there a phrase in where you're in
Oh, you
Australia?
do say, we
How
do
would you
say
phrase
check
it?
on your mates. We do say check on your mates. Yeah, yeah, you got to
Okay.
check on your, yeah, we say it. We say check on your mates for sure. Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's funny you say about the kids because this morning I had my friend Jason call this morning, and there was stuff going on with my son. He couldn't find shorts. He doesn't like a particular pair of shorts to wear to school. So he
Mm.
insisted on wearing these other shorts. And and Jason was laughing his head off. And so, yeah, my mates, everyone like yourself is used to, there's the balance. I want to talk to you, but I've got that thing we have to, there is a balance to it for sure. But everyone understands, it is what it is.
So let me ask you, and we don't have to go on too much longer, but I want to ask, introducing someone to check on your teammates. Hey, why are you wearing that hoodie? Why are you wearing that hat? What does it all mean? What would you tell someone? How would you recommend someone check on their teammates?
I think getting on the phone, either sending a text. I'm not a big text guy. I like calling. It's more that I'm a bit old school like that. But if someone doesn't answer the calls or call back for a while, I will send a text and say, just checking you're okay. Are you all good? You know, and just calling and just checking in, man. Just want to see how you are. That's it. It's really really simple, and I think um, you know just one thing I do say to friends, and I think I might have said this to you, and I'm not saying this to say that I'm great or anything, but I say this because I want this myself as well, right? I say you can call me at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday, and if I wake up, I'm answering, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been alone at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday
Mm-hmm.
and awake and not being able to sleep and full of fear and confusion and sadness and anger and all of those things. And, you know, it's, it's important for me to say that to guys, because I know I love that. When I hear something like that said to me, I love that. And I wanted to go back to something you said before. A lot of the time, I might think I'm struggling, and someone will say to me, "Man, you're doing really well." Like you just said, you always put your family first, and I know in my heart I do. But I forget that I do. You told me, you just reminded me, right? And I had a mate say to me when I was in early sobriety, he said to me, you're just a guy on the road to finding out about himself what we already know.
Mm.
And I never, like that to this day, like, I am the last to know how I'm really going, you know? And sometimes it's my mates and my beautiful wife that can shine the mirror up to me and say, no, man, you're going okay. You're right where you need to be. And sometimes then I think that's what check on your teammates to me as well. It's not just about, are you, is something going on and let me be there for you to listen. It's also encouraging and inspiring and giving some hope and not glazing, like really like trying to be there. I don't even know if I used glazing in the right terminology just then, but
I don't know
but
either. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, but not placating or
Yeah.
pandering to, but like just giving a bit of a shoulder massage, like you're about to go out on the field and go, come on, mate, let's go, um, just encouraging and being there. And that's a guy just checking in on me.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, I think whether it's in sobriety and those methods, or with a club sports team, a situation where people share a common interest, and there's no incentive for anyone to earn money or anything like that. Like all of this, goes to charity. Like
Sure.
this is all just raising awareness for mental health and community and connection. Like we want to bring back that human layer before someone experiences a crisis, and then know where to go, because life happens when it happens. And you hit the nail on the head. I was talking to a guy, Marcos, yesterday, and we spoke a year ago, and he invited me to his jujitsu gym. And I told him yesterday, after a year of that first conversation, I just don't know if my heart is really in that sport, that club, that membership. But I got vulnerable, and I told him, I said, I see you, I see your stature, how you walk, how you talk, how you hold eye contact, and I want that. I recognize that energy. And he said, you already have it, you just don't know it yet. He said, I've seen that in you. And that's why he kept asking me. And so now I'm going to go roll with him in 2 days. And I'm not scared or anything. It is
Shouldn't
what
be.
it is, because someone just wants to help. And it's starting to
Mm.
develop this community. And I think for you and I, what was incredible, I didn't know who you were on social media, online. I knew you as a friend. And when you came to LA, before we were meeting up with other guys, you and I grabbed coffee. And it was then we were having this great conversation. Someone's like, "Oh, you're Ben. I follow you." And I'm like, What's he talking about?" And so for me, like, it's still like I see it, but that's not how I see. I don't know you like that. I know
Yeah.
this version of you, and I'm super grateful for that, because I know it's real and authentic, and that, like, you believe in this. Like, we're not just wearing uh, these messages. It's like you lived it. And I know that's why the guys wanted to make sure that you had the sweatshirt and the hat, but because it's more than that. It's actually like a lifestyle. um
It is a
so
lifestyle,
yeah.
man. And my wife knows, like it's part of the deal with me, is that I um that I that I take calls and I make calls, and and she's really patient with that. But there are times where, like I said, I've got to put, if I put 20 minutes in on the phone to a mate, then I got to make sure that I double down at home, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I want to do that anyway, but it is a way of life. It makes, I don't know, man. I feel safer. I feel warmer. I feel, um, I'm this guy that called me just then. He was one of the guys that helped me 12 years ago when I first went into sobriety, and I was completely intimidated by him because he's someone that we know that has a bit of a profile in Australia. I won't break his anonymity, but I was intimidated by him, and I lied to him to make him like me, and and
Yeah.
and like and now, like, we check in on each other, like, it's beautiful. I never needed to
Yeah.
lie to him. We joke about the fact that I lied to him because I had such low self-esteem back then, but I love it. It makes it keeps life interesting, and it's not just all about me. It's like, it's easy for me to just make it all about my family, and there's people that do that, and power to them. And the horses for courses, I get it, but it's a real gift that I can try and put everything into my family, but also put everything as much as I can into other people. It's great because they've done that for me. That's the thing. I've had that. The only really, if it hadn't been done to me, then there's a good chance I wouldn't have done it. But they
Yeah.
freely gave it to me and loved me back to life. And if I can do that to people on a daily basis, then what a gift. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
And I think just knowing when we check in on each other that we have teammates, we have our support system, that even when I'm by myself, I don't walk into any room alone. Like, I
no,
know I have you, like, on my phone. Like, everyone else may not be able to see on the surface, but we're able to carry that, and it's real. Like, after maybe hours, a day or two after we talk, uh, I know I'm taken care of. I'm looked out for, and so
mm,
there's not too much to worry about that can't be handled, because that's really what it is. It's for me, a matter of perspective. How am I gonna deal with this, or get through it? How will I handle this? And you guys, you help me sort it out for sure on
you
many
too, mate.
occasions.
You too,
So
man. You too, man. You too. It's it's a two-way street, and yeah, I just say, like, it is, to your point, and we can finish on this. I guess by having that support and knowing that I'm a phone call away or a text away, um, is really, it is. It's like a spiritual armor, knowing that
mm,
I can just pick up the phone anytime. I can send a text when I'm struggling, um, or I can just call someone and see how they're going. It does it gives me, it helps me navigate the day. It really does. Sometimes I don't feel like I need it, but there might be someone else that does. So it's amazing. So yeah,
yeah,
I don't know
sometimes I
if
don't
that.
feel like working out, but I need it.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah,
It's like we
hundred
start to
percent.
feel better, and then we stop taking the medicine that actually got us to feel better.
Well, that's right. That's the thing for me. If I stop taking the calls, like, when it was so hard to pick up the phone, and I just started doing it because guys said to me, pick up the phone, call me when you're struggling, or check in on me, see how I'm going.
Hmm.
And then that changed my life. All of a sudden, I got all these teammates that were helping me and helped me grow. It's given me this life and helped me, remain teachable. Who am I to not do that now when it was done for me? Like, I'd be mad not to do that and not to continue it, because it evolves and it gets better. And, like, you know, meeting friends like yourself in the States and not knowing guys, it was scary going, navigate, but then leaning into it. Like, you and I, when we first went for coffee, we'd met once in person, and then we went to coffee. It was just like, we put it all on the table, and
Yeah, man.
it's so freeing, and it's lovely. And I think there is a bit of a stigma with men talking about how they feel, and really telling each other, particularly if you don't know each other that well. But it's such a shortcut, and, for lack of a better word, to connection. Just saying
Yeah.
it how it really is for you right now. If I just said to you when we went for coffee, oh, yeah, man, it's all good. Things are good. Or, maybe they were good. But if I didn't give you some substance to what's really going on, because there's always something going on, then we wouldn't. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's what this is all about, is that there
Mm.
is no weakness in vulnerability. It's cultivating a community that can be trusted with your truth on where you're at. And whether that's with friends or on the golf course or on the rugby field or at the office, what we really want to do is make it okay to not be okay. Like your job, your relationship should not be jeopardized because you're having an off day. Like,
Mm.
and men, we operate naturally by just doing things together, fishing,
Mm.
sports, and we're sitting in silence. And so for us, the community comes from actually just spending time together. But if we don't open up the conversation and make it safe and routine and natural to actually say, okay, but really, how are you? Really tell me how you're doing. How'd you feel
Mm.
when they said that?
Mm.
Then it could seem foreign. And I think that's what you're getting at, is it was foreign in the beginning. The phone was
For
heavy.
sure.
And for me, checking in on a teammate, it is a phone call means the world. Texts are okay. You reminded me of a speaker I listened to, and there's a certain lecture that I listened to on repeat, and he says, get out from behind them phones and let somebody hear the crack in your voice and see the wrinkle in your nose and the tears well up in your eyes. And that always stuck with me, because we don't want to lose that actual visceral human natural connection. There's a power to sitting in a room with
Mm.
someone, having a conversation. Our literal heartbeats start to beat in tandem. Our physiology changes. And if we don't get that
Mm.
regularly, if we're not checking in on each other, then it's suffering, and we don't have to. I think for me, it started with me. Once I started picking up the phone, once I started inviting people out, I started buying multiple concert tickets, multiple sporting event tickets. And I didn't know who was going to go, but when you have it, you create the opportunity. And now we're checking in. Hey, do you want to go check out this Kings hockey game with me? And now we're seeing how each other's doing.
That would be,
Who doesn't want to go
that's,
see a hockey game?
oh man, you get me some tickets when I'm next in town, all right? I'll get you some rugby league
Gee.
tickets. What I was going to say was, that's the thing as well about checking on your teammates. It does. It started with me having to make those moves a bit. I bought tickets to a play with a guy who I knew he liked a bit of theatre. He's an older guy, and I was really nervous about doing it. And I asked him, "Would you want to go to this with me?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course, that'd be great." And we did it. He's one of my closest friends in the world. He's 75, but he's an amazing man. But making those, being a bit uncomfortable and going, "Hey, man, do you want to do something?" And it feeling a bit uncomfortable because it feels a bit, you know, there's no beer involved. So if I said, let's go out for a beer, it'd be fine. But saying, let's go to a play and some ice cream it can be a bit weird for a bloke. But then doing
Yeah.
it was like amazing and beautiful and opens up all this connection. So I guess the point being is that it can, like, getting a bit uncomfortable and making that call yourself and checking in is you'll be amazed how much that opens you up to connection and how good it is for you as much as it is on the for the other person on the end of the phone.
Yeah, and it's not someone declining an opportunity to hang out or go to a show or go to a game. Uh, Honestly, I've learned it's not always about me. It's not
No,
personal.
no.
And it's helped me get used to rejection. It's actually normalized rejection, because rejection isn't necessarily this devastating thing that's an attack on a person's character. It's just someone else's decision or lack of availability to join you on that specific date. But the more I put it out there, the easier it got, the easier the no's became. And now that, it's a no expectation. If I call to check in on you, there's no expectation. If you call to check on me, there's no expectation. It's literally
Mm.
just a routine. Hey, you want a moment to release the pressure valve and let some steam out and just let it
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But that's a beautiful moment,
Yeah,
man. It's a beautiful moment. And that vulnerability, I think, is why this isn't just for men. It's for women, it's for families, it's
for
for
everyone.
colleagues, it's for athletes and professionals and academics. It's for everyone. Like it translates, it transcends across all types of, those categories, those lines.
For sure. And it has for me. Like, I check in on my sister, I check in on my brother, I check in on my mum, and which I didn't always do. And now, like, I make sure that that's a weekly thing, because I've seen how important it is for friendships that aren't on my bloodline. Like, it's pretty amazing what it's done for my relationships within my family, you know.
I think that's the most powerful part, is when people that aren't obligated to check on you check on you. You don't
Mm,
have to love me, but you choose to. You don't
yeah,
have to be my friend. You don't have to be my teammate, but you still stick around. And that's when it's impactful. I think
for
that's when
sure.
it's really real.
100%. Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, man.
Man, talk about it all day. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ben.
Thank you, man. Thanks, ERH. You're a legend, brother.
I'll see you on the other side sometime soon.
You will.